I was convinced that the Superliga would not come to life, and yesterday the fatal confirmation arrived. As Florentino Perez himself stated, the arrival of the new competition was actually accelerated by the fatal pandemic that has lasted for more than a year. But is it really to save football as the person in question claims? Here are 5 reasons why Superliga cannot survive in Europe. Football without fans is nothing, zero. It may be the greatest match of all time, but if no one witnesses it, it means nothing. The fans are the lifeblood of this wonderful game, said the great Jacques Stein a long time ago, and best described the power the fans have. And we saw well what the reaction was after the presentation of the Superliga. Almost all fans are disgusted by this act and consider yesterday as the day football died. Membership cards are cut on social networks, some even publish public videos of them renouncing their beloved clubs and the like. The Liverpool fans who openly resented the Super League yesterday have gone far, so the league game against Leeds was somewhat insignificant. This week, the Spion Kop 1906 supporters group will remove their flags and banners from the Kop stand ahead of their next game with Newcastle. The other clubs react similarly because, at least for now, they don't see the point of this kind of competition. If I respect the American sports system, but I have always been able to make it known in various discussions that such a thing simply cannot take root in Europe. A system in which there is no progression does not make much sense when it comes to European football. It's simply a collision of different cultures, and that's why I don't want to see a closed competition in our football. Are you aware that we will no longer have wonderful football stories like the one when Leicester City comes from the Championship and soon wins the Premiership under the baton of Claudio Ranieri? And that in addition to all those giants who are far above them in terms of finances, power, playing staff and other things. Yes, that's the charm of football. The charm of football is also when the big ones go up against the little ones, and I guarantee that all of us neutrals enjoy such news. We all can't wait for the giant to slip to a small club because that's the point of football, as Marcelo Bielsa, the current coach of Leeds United, himself stated. And lo and behold, it was Leeds who took a point away from Liverpool yesterday, who are fighting frantically for the Champions League. The founders boast that they are European giants, as they say, crème de la crème. But is that really so? Namely, almost everyone made fun of the duo from the Premiership, namely Arsenal and Tottenham. Everyone is wondering what they are even doing there. Tottenham has not won a trophy since 2008, and Arsenal has been an average English Premier League player for years and will be content with playing in the Europa League because the Champions League is out of their reach. And do you know what Arsenal, Tottenham, Manchester City and Atletico Madrid have in common? The 4 together do not have a single title in the Champions League. Yes, you read that right. I also wonder what the hell AC Milan is looking for, the last time they tasted the Champions League in the 2013-14 season, and after that they weren't even able to get to the Europa League for several years because they were bothered by domestic clubs like Sassuolo, Torino and the like. Only now they rose a little, but again too little. The same goes for Inter, which is unable to pass the group stage of the Champions League. Or Juventus, which is the strongest club in Italy, and cannot compete against Porto, Lyon and Ajax. Florentino Perez gave a big interview to Chiringuito yesterday evening in which he explained the reasons for the Superliga. What fascinates us is that one word is repeated, and that is money. When you mention what the world wants, I'll tell you what it really wants. Big clubs have millions of fans in China and Singapore. They will be more satisfied with this and they bring in money, said Perez last night. Okay, and what about the home fans? Do they think like that? Now watch this. Namely, the popular Twitter profile, Swiss Ramble, highly respected in the world of finance and football, revealed how much money the 12 founding clubs owe. The mentioned organization gathered all the financial reports and concluded that they owe an unreal €8.5 billion. These elite clubs are not indebted to anyone, and who is to blame for that but themselves? Who is to blame for a Barcelona that does not know how to invest properly, so the money is wasted by buying players who are not capable of bringing advantage or are not needed by the team at all? Perez is also a very shady character. Remember how he formed the famous Galacticos, and how he spent huge amounts of money. Is it really UEFA's fault that certain clubs do not know how to handle money? Will the Superliga really be more attractive than the Champions League and even the Europa League? Perez claims that the fans will be delighted with the derbies on a weekly basis. However, the majority are those who believe that he is wrong. because you often come across people who talk about that match even months before, for example, El Clasico. As a big fan of AC Milan, I am outraged that my club is part of this coup. You could say that as a 12-year-old I was a bit of a glory hunter, because I fell in love with the club when it was at the peak of power, but I really fell in love with the story of the family atmosphere among the Rossoneri. I was fascinated by the longevity of Paolo Maldini. At the same time I laughed and rejoiced when Pippa Inzaghi would celebrate his goals, regardless of whether he scored against Ajax in the quarterfinals of the Champions League in 2003 or scored against Pisa in the Italian Cup. And just watch out for these players who were rampant at the time: Clarence Seedorf, Andriy Shevchenko, Kaká, Alessandro Nesta, Gennaro Gattuso, Andrea Pirlo, Dida and others. So how can you not fall in love with such a team? I have proven my loyalty to that club in recent years, even when AC Milan is no longer part of the elite. Everything kind of went downhill the day Silvio Berlusconi gave up on the club, and somehow I think he did it on purpose to prove to the fans that nothing works without him. From 2012 and somehow until today, ACM became an average Italian club that could not even reach the Champions League, but the matches were watched. There were also various speculations about the transfer, whether the club could become stronger or weaker. Perhaps Ceferin explained it best when he mentioned that cursed attractiveness. UEFA competitions need Atalanta, Celtic, Rangers, Dinamo Zagreb and Galatasaray. People need to know that everyone has a chance. We have to keep their dreams alive. Some big clubs today were not big clubs in the past, and there is no guarantee that they will be big in the future. In my opinion, that is the real attractiveness, when one Sassuolo succeeds in the 2015-16 season to be ahead of AC Milan and therefore go to the Europa League for the first time in history. The attractiveness is when the Foxes won the Premiership in 2016 under Ranieri. The attractiveness is when one Atalanta created a nice team that cannot leave anyone indifferent. The attractiveness is when Dinamo Zagreb manages to make up for the 2-goal deficit against Tottenham. The attractiveness is when young Ajax manages to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League, but then due to lack of luck they are left without the final. The attraction also happened yesterday when Leeds United took a point from Liverpool, who are fighting for the Champions League. Dear Florentino, that's your attractiveness.